So apparently Saskatchewan's Premier Scott Moe has been having a little book club meeting about British Columbia's future, and wouldn't you know it, they forgot to invite the one person who actually runs British Columbia. Classic Canada, am I right? David Eby just found out that secret pipeline talks have been happening behind his back, and let me tell you, he's about as thrilled as someone who just discovered their roommate ate their leftover poutine. We're diving into the hottest drama in Canadian politics right now, and trust me, this one's got more twists than a Timbit factory production line. David Eby, British Columbia's premier, dropped an absolutely legendary quote this week that should go straight into the Canadian Political Shade Hall of Fame. He said he almost fell out of his seat when he heard Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe casually mention he'd been part of conversations about a proposed North Coast pipeline. You know, just some light chit-chat about building massive infrastructure through BC without bothering to loop in the guy who's literally in charge of BC. It's like planning someone's surprise birthday party, except the surprise is an oil pipeline, and the birthday person is an entire province. Now let's break this down because it's absolutely wild. We've got Scott Moe from Saskatchewan, Danielle Smith from Alberta, and apparently federal officials all sitting around presumably in someone's finished basement, discussing plans for a pipeline that would run through British Columbia to the North Coast. And Eby? He's finding out about this the same way the rest of us did, through news reports. It's the political equivalent of being the last person to find out your friends made group chat without you. But here's where it gets really spicy. Eby isn't just mad because his feelings are hurt. He's furious because this kind of backroom dealing could completely torpedo First Nations relationships that BC has spent years carefully building. And in case you've been living under a rock made of maple syrup, First Nations support is absolutely crucial for any major project in British Columbia. It's not just important, it's essential. It's the foundation. Without it, these projects don't happen, period. Think about it this way. Imagine you're slowly building trust with your neighbors, having coffee, being respectful, actually listening to their concerns. Then your cousin from 3 provinces over shows up unannounced and starts making plans to build a shed in their backyard without asking them. That's essentially what's happening here, except replace the shed with a multi-billion-dollar oil pipeline. Eby's calling this out because he knows what's at stake. British Columbia has been working incredibly hard to establish a new relationship with Indigenous communities based on respect, consultation, and genuine partnership. The whole reconciliation thing? It's not just a buzzword politicians throw around at press conferences. It's supposed to mean something. And secret pipeline negotiations that exclude both the provincial government and the First Nations whose territories would be affected? That's the opposite of reconciliation. That's more like reconciliation. Now let's talk about the pipeline itself because this isn't just some random idea someone scribbled on a napkin at a prairie potluck. The proposed North Coast pipeline would transport oil from Alberta and Saskatchewan to BC's coast for export. For Saskatchewan and Alberta, this is the dream, it's economic opportunity, it's market access, it's dollar signs dancing in their heads like sugar plums at Christmas. But for British Columbia? It's environmental risk, it's coastal protection concerns, it's the very real possibility of destroying ecosystems that can't be put back together. And here's the thing that makes Eby's reaction so justified. British Columbia has already been down this road. Remember the Trans Mountain Pipeline expansion? That whole saga? The protests, the arrests, the endless court battles? BC knows exactly how contentious pipeline projects can be. The province has learned, sometimes the hard way, that you can't just steamroll these projects through without proper consultation and genuine Indigenous partnership. Scott Moe apparently sees things differently. From Saskatchewan's perspective, they're landlocked, they need access to tidewater, and they're frustrated with what they see as BC blocking economic opportunities. But here's a wild idea, maybe include BC in conversations about BC? Revolutionary concept, I know. It's like planning a road trip through someone's backyard and getting upset when they ask what you're doing. The federal government's involvement in these discussions makes it even messier. Ottawa's trying to balance competing provincial interests, Indigenous rights, environmental protection, and economic development. It's like trying to juggle chainsaws while riding a unicycle on a tightrope made of red tape. Over a pit of political consequences. What makes this situation particularly volatile is the timing. First Nations communities have shown they're willing to support major projects when consultation is done right, when benefits are shared fairly, and when their concerns are actually addressed. The Coastal GasLink pipeline is proof of that. But projects that bypass proper process? Those face massive opposition, and rightfully so. Eby's warning that these secret talks could destabilize Indigenous support isn't hyperbole, it's a very real risk. The broader lesson here is about how federalism is supposed to work in Canada. Spoiler alert, it's not supposed to work like this. Provinces are supposed to have jurisdiction over their own territories. Major projects that affect multiple provinces require coordination, sure, but coordination means everyone's at the table, not everyone except the one province that's most directly affected. This whole mess reveals something deeper about Canadian politics right now. We've got premiers who are increasingly willing to play hardball with each other, a federal government trying to keep everyone happy and succeeding at keeping no one happy, and Indigenous communities caught in the middle of disputes that shouldn't be happening in the first place if proper protocols were followed. So where does this leave us? Well, David Eby's made his position crystal clear. No secret deals, no backroom negotiations, and absolutely no pipeline plans that bypass BC's authority and Indigenous consultation requirements. Whether Scott Moe and Danielle Smith got that memo remains to be seen, but something tells me Eby's going to make sure they get the message, possibly written in all caps with several exclamation points. If you want to stay on top of Canadian political drama that's somehow both infuriating and entertaining, you know what to do. Smash that subscribe button because Canadian Insights drops multiple videos every single day breaking down exactly what's happening in Ottawa, the provinces, and everywhere in between. Hit the notification bell so you never miss when Canadian politicians decide to do something absolutely bonkers. Drop a comment below telling me which premier you think is handling this situation better, or worse, because I genuinely want to know what you think. And share this with anyone who needs to understand why David Eby is currently the angriest man in Canadian politics. Trust me, this story's just getting started, and you're going to want to follow along. I'll see you in the next one.